Welcome to another episode of Two Dorks. This is episode 12. This podcast aims to share video game buying and selling tips, give suggestions on games to watch for, provide tips on how to fund your collection with your collection, and hopefully change the perception that some people have of sellers in the video game collecting community. Today is a unique one because we don't have two guests as we normally do. This time we have one guest, and it's Chris Roberts, CWR2, the first repeat guest of Two Dorks, and my new permanent co-host. Welcome.
Yeah, well, I don't know how many downloads you had before, but it's probably going to plummet.
It will do the opposite, I assure you. And I'm Derek.
Anyways. So what's going on? What's new in Canada?
Nothing at all. Nothing too new. Same stuff. Late night last night, but we're ready to go.
There you go.
Okay, we'll start off like we normally do with your last noteworthy deal or pickup, or in this case, we're adding sales as well, because why not change it up, evolve this shit. So we'll start off with me. Now you're going to hear me talk way too much, but my talk about I've had more eBay sales than normal, all because I actually finally got around to posting shit. So I picked up a few things that I needed to sell, and I noticed the price was going up on them, and I wanted to do a quick flip on them. So I picked up some PSVR games. It was Robinson the Journey and the Job Simulator. And Job Simulator was going up and up in price. I don't know whether it's held or not. I actually keep meaning to check, but price charting wasn't even keeping up with the prices of it because the eBay auctions were around the $100 mark at the time, $100 Canadian. So I got that on there. It looks like it might be coming down. Nope. There's still people up there with $250 listings, but.
So you had a guy who was shooting you an offer on it, right?
Yeah, I did. So I had messaged you about it to see what you thought, or no, to let you know. I said sometimes you just need to, piss back in their face when they try and piss on you with a shitty offer, and then tell you they can't afford it. Right. What I had said, I can't remember the wording exactly now. I really should have had that ready. But so he came at, I had it posted for $100 Canadian. He came at me with a $50 offer. I allowed offers because I wanted to see if someone would offer something decent, and if not, I can always come back at them with something better. So I came back at him, I think around 70. No, counteroffer received. I think I said 90. Yeah, that's what it was. So he offered 50. I said no, that shit, and did a $90 counteroffer. Then he came back with 70, and he said 70 is the most I could pay for a opened copy. I'm like, fuck that. Look at all the ones on eBay. There's nothing below 100 available. So I said, screw that. I'm not going to do that. I was going to come back around, I think 80 is what I came back with. And because I could actually see his feedback and his previous sales and all his items listed, I'm like, this guy is a reseller, and maybe he's grabbing this for the long haul. He knows this game's going up in price and wants to buy it and just hold on to it and flip it, or flip it for $100 or whatever. Depends on what his profit margins are like. But I said, no way. The lowest I'll take is 80. And he said, that's funny, LOL. Meet me at 75 plus $5 shipping. That's 80. Weird math, but I don't care. I don't care about shipping. You're paying shipping. But anyway, he said, it's only for my kids to play on the VR. I'm like, okay, let's just assume he's telling the truth. And I want it gone quickly anyway. Okay. I did the 75 and it was sold I had posted it at, I think, midnight. And this was, I think, 1 a.m. I don't know why I was still up, but 7 a.m. he finally accepted it. But my counter offer came. Yeah, my counter offer was at, I think, midnight or so. So it sold pretty damn quick. And it was going up in price. It looks like it still is. There's some buy it nows around $100 now. Actually, one of the ones that was there when I listed mine, which is in a generic case, is still up there, and that's $86. So, I mean, either it's stagnating on the sales, or no one wants the one that's in a generic case. So this is all relating back to I sold 10 things in the last month, which is a huge number for me. I don't usually list very much stuff, but I just finally got around to listing a whole bunch of things because I did those 2 VR games. Plus, I wanted to get rid of my Splatoon before Nintendo kills off Wii U Online. If they're going to, who knows? But wouldn't surprise me. And then Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3, I got that recently. Flipped that, and then Guitar Hero receiver, another Guitar Hero receiver sold just before that. So I mean, way more sales than I usually get. And then another item which I'm going to talk about later, I sold 2 of now, which is pretty cool. Can't complain about that. I mean, I have other questions here, like what do you know, did you get it for a good price? I mean, generally I bought them for a pretty good price. The PS4 game, like the Job Simulator, is one of the best profits, I think. I don't have my spreadsheet open, but that one I bought for $15, and as I said, sold it for $75. So that's not bad at all. And when I looked it up, it was only around $40. Then the next day, when I had organized to pick it up, it was at $65 around there on eBay. Like, okay, this is going up in price, I guess. And that's when it went up even higher. So not bad. Chris, what about you?
Well, as far as stuff I've sold recently, I think it's been 2 weeks now. I went out on just kind of a late morning hunt. I didn't quite get out as early as I wanted to, but I figured I'd try to make the best of it. And I hit some yard sales and started off a little slow, and then I ended up at this one yard. Just kind of some rednecks. It's okay to say that because I'm a redneck. And they didn't have nothing, but the neighbor was this lady sitting there, and so, you know, I asked her, hey, you got any video games? You know, because she didn't have nothing out, and she broke out this GameCube. Or she told me that she had a GameCube, and I was like, oh, okay. And then so, you know, she gave me the whole, she doesn't sure if her daughter wants to sell it and all that. Yeah. So then I decided to kind of, you know, try to kind of finesse the situation. I was like, well, why don't you just show me what you have? That way, in case I, you know, maybe I don't want it, then you don't have to bother your daughter. So she goes, okay, that was fine. You know, because I'm always trying to do something to get the stuff out of the house. You know, if it's in the house, I want to say whatever I can to them to get it out of the house. You know what I mean? Like, you know, stay friendly, try to stay on topic. Sometimes I'll go off if I feel like I need to, but usually just trying to look at a friendly way of getting them to bring the stuff to me. So anyway, so she brought the stuff out, and I mean, it was just all gold, you know, Zelda, Smash Brothers, Mario Kart. I mean, both Zeldas. It was, you know, for the GameCube, all Mario Party 9 or in a Mario Party 9, Mario Party 4, Mario Party 8. Oh no, actually, you know, at the Mario Party, the higher ones, that was the Wii. That was another one. But I mean, it was Mario Party 4, Super Mario Brothers. It was just all really good stuff, right? And you know, she tried to give me the make me an offer type of thing, and then so, you know, and I think I'll kind of get more into that later because it is kind of a pet peeve in some circumstances. But in a yard sale situation, I actually do like the make an offer thing. In other situations, I don't. But in the yard sale thing, I really feel like I have a. I mean, I'm not trying to brag or be cocky or nothing, but I feel like I feel like I have a good charm. All right, I charm them, you know what I mean? Whether even if it's a male, you know, I mean, I have a good rap on kind of how to make it friendly, how to make it non-aggressive, and I get it out. Unless they get it, sometimes you need to finesse it. Sometimes you need to be a little more aggressive. It just depends. But with her, I definitely knew it was more the friendly route. So I didn't want to I mean, I saw how much profit I could make, and I didn't want to lowball her too hard, but I did, you know, I don't like to start too high because then you have nowhere to go but up. You know what I mean? If you do a negotiating thing, or if they take it too quick, then you think about what you left on the table. So anyway, so I offered her 30. And I mean, this was, I also had the platinum GameCube, all complete, all really clean. And so she was saying, well, I was thinking 40. And I was actually in my mind, I was like, well, I'll do that. And she goes, well, let's just meet in the middle at 35. So she did the negotiate. It was all nice and clean. Paid her, you know, got out of there and listed it all. And it was pretty much all gone by the next day, other than the GameCube. I just been lazy about it. It's still sitting around here, but all the games are gone. And really good deal. The very next Sunday, I'll keep this one a little short, but it was pretty much the exact same scenario. Go to a yard sale. no games out. Ask the lady if she has any. She tells me she has Wii. And I don't know how many people are. I mean, I'm sure a lot of our listeners are, but some people aren't aware what Wii titles are going for. And there's a lot of $20 to $30 titles. I mean, there's actually higher ones, but I mean, these common titles that you think aren't worth something. And this was the one that I got, the Mario Party 8, Mario Party 9, Kirby's. That Kirby game is like a $30 game. Mario Kart, you think it wouldn't be. It's still a $24, $25 game.
Yep.
All Donkey Kong Countries, that was even $14. Not that that's a lot, but I mean, hey, when you're shipping it out for $3, I mean, it's all profit at that point. I also picked up a boxed Zelda Classic Edition, Zelda 2, NES. I mean, that I actually paid up for, but I actually parlayed that in a really good trade. She wanted 40, or the boyfriend wanted 40. He wasn't there, so I kind of negotiated with the girlfriend. I got her down to 30. Which isn't a lot of meat left on the bone, but I knew it'd be a really good trade item. And I ended up trading it for a super rare Atari cart that I've been wanting, Custard's Revenge, or one of the porn games. So you never know. It's always good to have inventory. Plus, at that same yard sale, I picked up a Pokédex, and those are always instant money. I mean, that was another $33 sale. I picked that up for $5. Oh, when they work, they're gold. They go quick. I mean, even when they don't work, if you don't want to put the time into putting a battery in it,
mine works.
It's definitely worth it. They're definitely. I mean, they're easy sellers. Any of the editions too, like the earlier ones will sell quicker, but they all go well.
I had a year on mine, but now I don't have the year written here. Damn. Oh no, that's not right. That's not the right thing. Anyway, sorry.
But and out of all that though, the stuff I'm the proudest. The stuff I'm the proudest of is the oddball items that I actually sold. I mean, I sold a Rainbird sprinkler timer that a lot of people might not think about, but I mean, that was 20 plus $13.65 shipping. And I, with my discount, I get it out for probably around 11 something, a little bit over 11. So, I mean, that's still another $1.80 in the pocket on the shipping. And then this little calendar that sits on a desk that you probably nobody would even think about. I picked that up for $1, sold it for, $20. So
calendar
shipped, but still. Yeah, this little block calendar, like you have to manually rotate the blocks. Yeah.
It's like
right, and they're very collectible.
Those ones?
No, it's not. Okay. It's just two little blocks. They sit in there. They have numbers on them, and one block will have, like, let's say 1 through, I don't know, 1 through 9. Maybe the other one has the same. I didn't really look at it. I mean, obviously it can't be 1 through 9, but whatever the math is on the dice, it has it where you can do each day, and they're pretty collectible. Like I've known some like Nightmare Before Christmases that goes for a pretty good price. Okay. This one was a brand that I was familiar with the brand. It's Hallmark, but I never really heard of Hoops and Yo-Yo before. But apparently that's one of their properties. Childlike thing, but hey, it sold quick. I mean, it didn't even last the night, so somebody wanted it.
You have to expand on your
all the Wii games are gone.
Shipping discount. People might be curious what you mean.
Well, once you hit a plateau as far as, or like a benchmark for shipping or for sales, you become like a top rated seller. You get 20%. Sometimes it's as high as 22, 23%. And I mean, at least at my level, the higher you get, the bigger the discount you'll get from eBay. So if you think about it, it's like, all right, let's say you put something up for $30 free shipping, right? Well, they're going to charge you the 10% on the $30. Whereas if I put it up for, let's say, $25 plus $5 shipping, they're still going to charge me the 10% overall, but I'll still make more off. I mean, I don't know, when you break it down, you end up making a little bit more on it, and it kind of tricks the customer in a way. I mean, not maliciously, but
yeah.
I talked about this on the last podcast. Some people are all about the free shipping, but then other people assume the shipping is part of it, so they don't even think about the shipping, and they just think about what the base price is. So sometimes, I mean, I talked about last time, but sometimes I'll use that to, maybe shoot a sale. Like it was stagnant one way, I'll flip it the other way. With Amazon Prime, though, people are really getting used to the free shipping. So at some point, I might just gravitate to all free shipping and just adjust the prices accordingly. But That's a different topic for a different day, I guess.
All right. Cool. Yeah, I'm looking at your Pokedex and I'm looking at your other stuff for sale. The flip clock thing you're talking about, click date thing. It's neat. All right.
Yeah. I mean, it was easy flip. Didn't last long.
It's cool. Yeah. I'd never heard of like those ones. It looks like it also is electronic as well. Like you push on it and it talks or what?
It did have a little thing where it did some little jingle. I mean,
Okay.
it wasn't nothing super fancy. It didn't say the time or anything like that. It was just, it's whatever their little catch stuff is. I'm assuming if it was like SpongeBob, it would have said a SpongeBob catchphrase. If it was
I saw your Pokedex was a
Flintstones, it would have said
1998 version, which is pretty early. I think mine is.
Yes, it was an early one, yeah.
Mine's
but even the long, like the more, there's the rectangle ones that kind of has like the Pokeball on one end, but it's essentially a rectangle.
Yeah, that's what
a little longer.
Like.
That's not the one you have. Yeah, those they sell fast too. People are really into the Pokédex, so
yeah, I gotta
definitely don't pass them up. And you know the beauty of it is rarely does anybody ever charge much for them. I mean, I picked them up as cheap as a quarter.
Yeah, I got mine for $2.
I mean, like I'm not talking retail. Right, I'm not talking retail environment, but even in a retail environment, I could definitely see them being $5.99, $6.99, and there's still a lot of money to be made in that. I mean, all those little sales, they all add up, you know.
Yeah,
and the good trade items for that. I mean, even if you paid, let's say you paid $15 for it, you still got about $10 in equity in a trade, so it still might work out if you know somebody who's into Pokemon. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Cheapest one I see listed on eBay right now is $9.99 with $14 shipping, or $11 with 15 shipping. So that's probably the closest I'm gonna be able to get because there's a lot of the ones that I have. A lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm looking at like freaking 20, 30 of them available. Yeah. So the only thing I can really do is
I would never
take better pictures or show that it works in photos or something like that to try and beat the prices. This one does say tested, but
anytime you have something like that, if you can do so much, I mean, as little as just push a button that turns it on and then take one more. I mean, you get 12 free pictures. Why not use them all?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
No, these lower ones definitely don't have a picture of it working. That one actually looks like the screen.
Right. And so as a consumer, okay, think of it from a consumer point of view that, you know, a lot of consumers, they feel like eBay, you know, let's say they had one bad experience, right? So now they're going to assume everybody's out to get them. So take that extra, give them a little more confidence. Plus, it also helps you in case of a case.
Yeah.
Like if they try to say it didn't work, to say, well, hey, when you call eBay to talk to them, say, look, you can see in picture 4 that it's working. You know, it turned on. They're saying it doesn't even power on. There's no way that battery died between here and there.
Yeah.
You know,
looks like most people are shipping it without batteries too. This guy's actually selling like a really small town, like 25 minutes away from me. Really odd that he's happens to be there, but all right. Anyway, let's move on to the next stuff here. Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. But if it's on eBay, who cares? I sell all through all of Canada anyway.
Right.
Still, for picking stuff up, you never know. Kind of curious what other stuff he's selling now. I gotta keep his listing to the side, so I remember to look at it.
I got a quick question, a little quick sidebar. Now, do you use the global shipping program?
No. I, as a Canadian, I hate the global shipping program from a buying point of view, because anytime you buy from the state,
because it's very expensive coming to you. Right.
Yeah, it's super expensive. They charge way too much extra, and you sometimes also get importing fees on top of the global shipping program as well. So not only do they charge you a lot, but when it comes to the country, you also usually get charged extra fees, which is equivalent to a tax. So it's
okay, fair enough. But I mean, just clicking that little option, I mean, you never know when there's somebody, let's say,
I've actually never seen
the in Europe.
I don't think I've even seen the option for me to do that. Maybe they don't allow it in Canada because the depot is in not Tennessee. Where is it?
Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Well, there's one in Kentucky, and there's also one in Washington. It depends on which way you're going. Like if you're going to like China or Japan, I think it goes through Washington, and if you're going to the rest of the world, I think it goes through Kentucky.
So I don't know if it's even an option for us at all. I'm just going to do a mock.
It might not be. Yeah, it might not be.
I don't think I've ever seen it. So I don't think it is, because when I go to shipping, I basically get to choose what type of shipping it is, and I usually don't even add an international shipping. So maybe no, it just says international is flat rate or calculated. I don't see anything for a global shipping program at all, which would make sense.
Well, has anybody ever contacted you like directly asking you to ship overseas?
Yeah, not overseas. Usually I have Brazil contact me a lot. I keep having people say, well, do you not ship to Brazil? I'm like, no, I ship to Canada only. Like, they shouldn't even be seeing my ads if they're in Brazil, unless they say items shipped in Canada that ship to Canada only. But
right. Well, they go out of, they find out circumvent it, because my ad should be hidden, and I get approached all the time. And what I'll do is I'll just give them a ridiculous handling fee, and if they want to pay it, then I'll do it. If they don't, then I don't care. And I'll suggest a global shipping program.
Okay. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just something, I mean, because the thing is, when you're put on the spot, sometimes it's hard to calculate how much it'll cost to go there, because that is one thing that eBay is kind of lacking. Sometimes it's hard to kind of know what it's going to cost you to ship to, like, let's say, somewhere in the UK. I don't know. You know what I mean? So when they try to put you on the spot, I can say, well, what does it tell you? And then I'll just think, well, I'll just give them like a ridiculous thing. Like, I'll do it for another 75. Like, I sent an arcade board to Australia, and I didn't want to do it. But the guy was like, well, I'll pay your $200, and then I'll pay whatever the shipping is. And I was like, okay, well, the shipping is going to be $50. I'm going to charge an extra 100 for the handling. And so that way it pays customs and all that stuff I need to pay. And he's like, okay. And it actually didn't even cost me that much. But I mean, hey, it's just the way it is. I mean, it did cost, it was a little higher than the 50 I anticipated. It was like 72 or 73, but I still made another little over $70. I mean, before fees. So it was worth it,
Yeah. And it's a hassle for you, especially if there's a problem with it, and you got to deal with some shipping company shipped across.
Sure. And well, that is the thing. That's the beauty about the shipping program for us in the States, is because once it gets to them, it's out. It's done. No, that wasn't. No, that wasn't. I was going to say the differences of somebody who doesn't know. When you go through the global shipping program, if you cover your butt, you pack it right, you ship it to them. Once eBay gets it and ships it back out, and I don't know if they inspect it. I'm assuming they might. I have a feeling they might repackage it.
They often repackage it,
and I hope they do. That's fine. But once they get it and reship it, you're done. As far as I've heard this from an experienced reseller, they can't point. It's out of there. They just can't do it. And if they attempted to, it'd be an easy reversal through just making a simple phone call.
Yeah.
So that is kind of the protect. I don't know anybody in the States. I don't know why they wouldn't use the global shipping program. It's just free money. I sell stuff all the time. I just sold an action figure that had been stagnant. I had good watchers, but nobody, watchers aren't necessarily buyers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it went somewhere in the UK, and hey, I was more than happy to let them pay the $23 shipping, because whatever it says that you get paid $670 something or whatever that you get from eBay, they're getting more than double. So whatever it is, it's double. If it costs you 14, they charge them more. Oh, just sold Super Pair. Oh, there goes that last Wii game. Made a sale. You're good luck.
Nice.
There goes that last one. Another $23.74.
That's awesome.
Well, that was a very good very good purchase.
No doubt. That's way good. All right. We're moving on to tip corner here then. So tip corner, buying and selling tips. You're up first, Chris, so you can think of anything.
Well,
you kind of just gave the global shipping
already. I know. I kind of just. Didn't you also have something like a pet peeve in there? Was that, or am I skipping ahead?
Yeah, you can, anything that annoys you. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, anything that annoys me. Now, I talked about it earlier, how it doesn't bother me at yard sales when someone says make an offer, because it's in person. So I really feel like I have the advantage in that situation. It bothers me, and don't anybody listening, if you've done this recently, don't take it personal, because I'm not really talking about you. I'm talking about other situations that probably aren't listening here. But when someone will have something and they'll be like, hey, I got what you want, or I'm selling this. I'm like, oh, great. How much do you want for it? And they're like, well, make me an offer. Well, and the reason it's a pet peeve online is because I don't really feel like I have the vocal advantage because they put the tone on whatever you're writing. You know what I mean? Like they're not hearing me speak.
Yep.
I have a way of talking and a way of negotiating, and it doesn't come across well in text. And I don't know how they're reacting either. So I'm not able to size them up well. Now, let's say it's from a friend. That's another crappy situation because then I feel like, well, I don't want to lowball my friend. You know what I mean? Or even if it's just an acquaintance, like somebody's trying to be friendly to me, but they're like, hey, just make an offer. I mean, like the other day, this guy had like this cheap manual. He's selling it. He has all these manuals for sale. I said, hey, I need this one manual. Okay, bud, just make me an offer. I'm like, well, friendly. I mean, I don't know how he read it, but I'm just like, well, hey, man, you're the seller. Haha, LOL. You tell me. So then he shoots it right back at me. Well, just make me an offer, bud. And then I was just in a bad mood that day. Things weren't going well, and I was just like, you know what? Thanks anyway. Like, I mean, I'm not going to haggle over a $4 manual. If you don't want to say $4, I'm going to tell you $2 then. I don't even want to get into it. At that I didn't even feel like I just didn't even feel like dealing with it at the moment. And maybe I was being a dick, and I probably was. But I do run into that situation a lot where it's like, oh, I'm selling Earthbound, make an offer, no low ballers. Well, if you're making me make the offer, guess what you're going to get?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Completely agree about that.
You get a low ball offer unless you have.
I will never make an ad that says that ever. I hate that so much.
I think it's a dick. I think it's a very, to me, it's like, be confident in what you're selling.
Yeah, you either
be a confident seller.
As a seller, you either want what it's worth, less than what it's worth because you want it to go fast, or you got it cheap,
right,
or more than what it's worth because you're being a dick, or you put too much into it, or whatever else. Right. And you want more than what it's worth. So you put a number on it. You know what you want. Nobody else has a clue what you want. If you're expecting to get fair offers, then put a fair price on it and someone will just fucking buy it. And you'll probably still get low ball
They'll
offers.
either buy it. Right. Well, they'll buy it, or maybe they will make an offer that you were willing to take anyways, or at least you've set the bar. If they try to come in under and you can't hold your water, like if you're not confident in yourself, or you can't deal with the pressure, because some people aren't negotiators. They don't like it. And I understand that. It's a source of anxiety for some people. I get that. So they just say, this is what I'm looking for. And they will still send you offers. And if it doesn't sell, then price it accordingly. Unless you feel like you're embarrassed because you're lowering your price. Well, if you're putting that much emotion in it, selling isn't your thing.
Yeah. I do have one friend who loves the negotiation. He lives for the negotiation. He lives in the town over from me, and I've done lots of deals with him, and I absolutely hate the negotiation part. Unless I'm like buying and I'm being super cheap. Like I'll give myself a number and that'll be it. But when he's selling, he always wants me to put the first number, and then he plays the game. He takes the number, divides by 2, and adds something, or you know what I mean? Like he always has some kind of math in his head on how he's going to go, and it has to go through those steps before he comes to the number he has actually wanted. And I hate that so much. I just want the damn number to begin with. But dealing with him, I'm used to that now. So usually what I'll do with him, I'll just throw out a firm number right off the bat. Say, this is my number, firm, done. That's it. Take it or leave it. That's what I do with him.
Well, and now have you came back on him with, like, come on, man, what's your lowest price?
Yes, I've done that. And he's even said,
just keep, come on, dude. Just what's your lowest price? Yeah, I know.
He's even said, this is,
I don't know. Well, I don't know how we do it. I get it. I get it. Yeah. Well, then you need to up your game and then go lower next time. Whatever your initial offer is, go $30 lower, or 40% lower, and then he's gonna stop playing that game. You know what I mean? Or you're not gonna buy stuff from him.
Yeah, we've basically stopped doing deals lately. Yeah.
Understandable. That's the way it is hard when. Well, it is hard whenever you want max value out of something. That does. I mean, sometimes I shoot myself in the foot when I have stuff and then I'll post a pickup, and then I'll have let's say friends or friendly people ask me for the product.
Yep.
Sometimes you just gotta politely say no, or you can't. I mean, because sometimes it's hard to tell somebody. Well, sometimes it's hard to tell somebody, look, I understand that I just paid $20 for this big lot of games, and you know, you're thinking of it that way, and I get that, but you also got to think, well, I'm doing this for a reason. I put in a lot of time and effort into it.
This is the
I'm all
store
about bros and
right?
pro prices, and I paid the price, man. You don't know how many empty runs that I went on. This is the one that paid off all those, and it's gonna fund future runs.
Yeah.
And this is how I fund my collection. And I also fund other things like gas in the tank or food in the belly. But you know what I mean? And I know you're more collection oriented on your sales, and that's really cool. But you know, I do both. You know what I mean? You know, the money, to me, money is I don't really care where it comes from. You know, as far as where it's going, where, you know, like I spent this and I have to put this back and do this. And I know people got their spreadsheets like Bill and Joe, you know, and I respect that. But my spreadsheet's up here, man. Like I know what I've spent, and I know what I made, and I know when I bought it, and I know when I flipped it. I have amazing recall on that stuff. I can pretty much tell you what I paid for everything I got. And no, I know, and I don't even understand it myself, but I can recall deals that happened 10 years ago. I remember stuff that happened in the 90s, you know, like but I can't remember what I ate yesterday. So, you know, I don't know.
I can relate.
I don't know, man. I don't know how that works.
I don't remember most of my deals anymore. And maybe part of that is having the spreadsheet. I think I've mentioned this a few times, but several years ago, I used to flip and repair and sell paintball gear. In order to get myself a better equipment, I would buy stuff, sell it, fund it, keep whatever I wanted, that kind of thing. And at that time, I even used a spreadsheet. And thinking back, there are a few items that I can remember, like I paid this for this and sold it for this, especially when it was something that I had been hunting for a while. But most of them, I don't really remember it. I still have that spreadsheet, but I don't remember what I paid for most of the stuff. But I do remember the actual deals and the transactions, and fixing certain things. I'd be like, oh, I bought this gun for a good deal, but it was broken and I fixed it, and how good it felt to fix that gun and then get it sold off, right? And how much I paid for it and how much I sold it for. But just usually particular ones.
I think a spreadsheet's good for keeping yourself honest, because some people like to forget and they'll focus on, like, it's like gamblers, for instance.
Yeah.
And I played poker for many years to make money, and I was always honest with myself. If I had a losing session, I made sure I was accountable for that. And then you have a winning session, you got to remember the losing session. And that's really, it's something you got to be accountable for. And it is the same thing. If you're going to be a legitimate, you know, reseller, flipper, whatever word you want to put on it, scalper, I don't care, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? If you're going to be legitimate, you do have to be honest with yourself and know if you're making money. And if you're having a good time and you don't really going for the major profit, that's fine too.
Yeah.
But
it can just be a hobby.
Be honest with yourself. Yeah, and there's no problem with that. That's great. I started off as mostly a hobby, and it's still mostly a hobby. I mean, I do it to make money also, but you know, I mean, you get better at it, so you make more money, and it looks like, you know, oh wow, man, you know, you must be living the life. And yeah, there's times, you know, but there's other times where I spend too much. You know, not necessarily on the shit that I buy; it's the shit that I keep. You know what I mean? Like, you keep too much, then you're not making anything.
Yep, I've done that too. All right, for the tips, I got a tip here too. So luckily this podcast will be released in a couple days, so I got some time to do this, to buy more of these myself. But I found that these are worth more than I expected. So just so you can see, and anybody else, it's a original Xbox high definition AV pack. It's the component cable and optical audio one. Model is X08-25301. I have had these sitting around for a while because I've been picking up old Xboxes, original Xboxes, and I just bought a lot of them, which came with another one, which prompted me to think maybe I should be selling these. And then people were talking about the popularity of this new original Xbox HDMI adapter, and that got me thinking, you know, I wonder what those sell for. Couldn't find any for me available, but I thought, what's the next best thing's got to be component, and what do you think these are worth? Went and checked. Oh no, someone made a comment about it being much cheaper. The HDMI thing at $25 US being much cheaper than the component cable option. I'm like, I got component cables for Xbox coming out the asshole. I got these two of those things, and then a couple of the cables. I have 3 sets of the HD or component cables. So went and checked eBay anyway, and these things were selling for $50 Canadian or $50, almost $50 US even. So I listed one, It sold a couple days later. I listed the second one, had some people ask questions, and this one just sold yesterday. So I mean, I'm happy. Now I gotta go to a local store or a couple local stores and see if they have them just kicking around, right? They might just have them laying around, thinking they're not worth anything. In my opinion, these things are annoying because you still need regular component and audio cables or optical audio cables to run to your TV, and that's just a pain in the ass to me. Plus, this box is sitting somewhere. I'd rather have the one that's just a cable and comes out as component cables, right? Little connectors as opposed to this, but. And I've got a couple of those, so I'm happy with those. I got the monster cable one, and I got another one.
I would bet there's also I bet there's also a level of collectability to it as well.
That's my thought too. But then you'd think they'd want them in box, brand new.
Maybe, but not everybody. I mean, how many NES controllers do you have in box? You know what I mean? Or Nintendo 64 colored controllers or whatever. I mean, some people are box and some people aren't.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe.
Yeah, no, it's a good point.
They just want to have
it. Why
I originally want to say they have a little bit of everything.
Yeah. I had originally planned on keeping one just for that reason, but if they're selling for $50, I'm not keeping them. So I'm digging through my stuff. I thought I had a third one somewhere, but
I thought that little Guitar Hero adapter or whatever that you showed on Twitter, that was pretty nice. I like that. That's something I bet you would. Wasn't it a Guitar Hero that maybe went to like receivers? A DS or something or whatever? Or was it to a DS or was it for what was it for?
PS2 and Wii I've sold. PS2.
Okay, PS2 and Wii.
Yeah.
Okay, you see that stuff that I mean, see, that's something where a lot of Wii owners and a lot of PS2 owners went through the Rock Band phase, and a lot of that crap gets stuck in bins at yard sales or even in thrift stores. And that, to me, that seems like a I'll rip off Metal Jesus, who ripped off everybody, a hidden gem of a thing to buy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know it's a good thing.
That seems like something you could get for a couple of bucks. Yeah,
exactly. I've got them in garage sales for 50 cents. I've got them thrift stores all the time too. Those wireless dongles for the keyboard, or sorry, for the guitars and the drums. Even the drum ones do not sell nearly as good though. But I think I've sold about 5 of those different models.
There's something about that stuff that there's going to be a point where all that Guitar Hero stuff is going to start becoming nostalgic for a group of people that get to that age. You know what I mean? You got to think about it like. For me, my disposable income started hitting was, NES, Super Nintendo, because I knew it's like, well, this is the stuff I had when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back and buy that stuff. And a lot of collectors now are in for GameCube, phase. But, PlayStation 2 also overlaps in that as well.
Yeah.
So you got to figure that's really going to start to be one of those things. Yeah. Right. Oh, for sure. I mean, the fact that, part of that number is inflated because the Fat Boys, the DVD drives went out, so people had to go rebuy them. There is something to that number being a little inflated, but nonetheless, there was still a shitload of PS2 sold regardless of that number, regardless of the trade-in. But yeah, I mean, those are kind of things that I would pick up, like definitely. I mean, I know people who really go after the guitars and actually do well, but see, that's not really a shipping item. That's more like a local sale. If I had a shop, I would, somebody wants to bring me one of those guitars for 50 all day. Cause I think you can make a good 10 to 15 bucks on them in person. I don't know what they're going for online, but there is stuff that sells in person. My buddy has a shop. And people will come in there and ask what things are and don't check, because there is a certain people who really don't know what things are worth and really don't know how to go about finding it. It's just if it's worth it to them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So that would
guitars,
be something if you have a shop or something.
Josh Creepleet is Creep1337 on Twitter and YouTube and everything. He was messaging you about those N64 games. He was the guy I said.
I need to get back to him. Right.
Yeah. He actually has sold several of those guitars on eBay. I think he only sells it in Canada, is my guess, because that would simplify shipping quite a bit. But he sold several of them. He actually took one off me in a trade a while ago, and I think he sold that one off. That was probably like 2 years ago now. But yeah. So it is resellable. like you said, shipping.
Sure,
things.
but there's another angle to that too. Is if you have a store that will give you decent trade-in credit.
Yeah,
And if you could be picking them up for $1 or $2, and a store will give you $8 or $9, I mean that adds up quick. You know what I mean? Just depending, because some stores will do that. There was a time where you were getting pretty decent trade-ins at, let's say, GameStop. I mean, or where EB Games in Canada. There was a time where they were giving decent credit, and you can trade up, and next thing you know, you're in the $40, $50 range. You get yourself a new game.
Yeah.
But I don't think they take them anymore. But there are local guys who might, little mom and pop shops. You never know.
Yep, that's what I was thinking. They probably won't take them anymore. But yeah, all the other places might, or even pawn shops.
No, I don't think they would.
Pawn shops, maybe. Yeah,
pawn shops.
They're all
pawn shops are brutal. Right. I don't think you're gonna get much out of a pawn shop.
Yeah, there's one pawn shop that's fairly close to me that is literally over half video games. That's pretty much all they do. Video games.
That's actually pretty nice.
Yeah, I haven't been there.
Does Joel go to that? Is that the pawn shop that Joel's always hitting up? My buddy from Instagram.
I don't think he is, but I don't know. No, he hits up Hawk Shop.
He hit. Well, I didn't. Well, here they're the same, but maybe they're distinguished in Canada. Pawn shop, Hawk Shop.
The brand name is. Hawk.
It's the actual brand name.
Animal,
Hawk Shop.
Okay,
yeah, because he gets them. I can't believe what he actually gets out of a Hawk Shop, pawn shop. Well, you know what? That's where I get an advantage over some people, because sometimes for my work, I'll do field trips. I'll take people places.
Okay.
And I don't have to, right off the bat, I don't have to pay gas. I can park wherever I want. I can do whatever I want. Once I drop them off, I go out and hunt. And nice. I make a point of it. If you have a job that lends itself to that, make a game plan. Bring cash and know where you're going.
Yeah, I wish I did. I kind of wish that. Actually, Josh, as we were just talking about him, creepily, he drives a truck for work, and he does the same thing. He'll hit up places when he can, all over the place in towns around here. So that helps him too, I think. What was I going to say?
I got the funniest look.
Oh yeah, I got the funniest look
because I drive a bus
as well. I've told.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I told him, and he tried to. Right, he told me he started giving me the whole he don't have a mic thing. I was like, dude,
he did that to me too.
Mic. I used one for like 2 years. I used one for 2 years. Nobody knew the difference.
I told him I'll drive to his house.
Well, there it is.
I just saw him again actually last weekend at a mall in Toronto. I was in his neck of the woods, so and said hi to him and told him we were going to be doing this, and he's got to be a guest sometime. He sounded interested, so
yeah, he's great, man. I love the guy. He's easily my favorite Canadian.
That's two now. Two that are above me.
Yeah. No. By far, he's my favorite Canadian.
Oh man. Okay. We're gonna take a quick break here just for a little commercial.
Hi, this is Player One of the Cartridge Club, and today I'd like to talk to you about one of my favorite podcasts, Media Mavens. Media Mavens is hosted by Pam and Riley, and they cover a wide range of topics from television to video games, K-pop to movies, and they make every show entertaining. In an industry that's awash in 30-something-year-old dudes, it's refreshing to get a point of view that doesn't sound like a carbon copy. I highly suggest you check out Media Mavens. They air every second Monday on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. You won't be disappointed.
And we're back. So, the next section here is story time. This is any stories or lessons learned you want to explain or tell the people. First up, of course I screwed up and I forget to do anything. It's me first. I have nothing planned at all. So Chris, if you want to go ahead, you can get her shit up.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm never short to tell a story or two, but so yesterday, a buddy of mine, Jay, I haven't seen him in a while. I mean, we keep contact, texting and stuff like that, but we haven't hung out in a little while. Just schedules or whatever. So I decided yesterday was a rainy day. It wasn't a lot of hunting, but he sells games. So I thought, I'll just come and see what he got. Cause a lot of times he'll have, he doesn't update his prices all the time. So I went, I snagged me, about 8 Nintendo 64 games on the cheap. I was happy with the purchase and an amiibo and everything. But, we after getting talking, it's like, hey, let's go get something to eat. That ended up turning into, well, there's a thrift store right here. Nice. And we hit a detour and, oh, look, there's another thrift store. And then we end up at, now there's this local thrift store I won't say the name because he asked me not to say the name, which, you know, whatever. Who's listening from Fresno? But
if
whatever.
he has,
It's just sure. He asked me not to, so I'm not going to. But let's just say the name of it is Luigi, okay? And it's Luigi's store. So we go to, and he's in this old cracker building in the downtown area that it used to be a factory at one time. But I should have took some video, and I actually was going to, but my hands got full really quickly. But this place is, you go into it and it looks like there's junk everywhere, and all of a sudden, like, all you're seeing is trash, and then your eyes will focus in. It's like, oh, there's an Apple III monitor. What the fuck? And oh, there's a stack of DVDs, and oh, there's a antique radio, and there's a this and there's that. I mean, it's a mix of everything. It's a mix of garbage and everything. And they try to organize it, but they get in so much donations. It's overwhelming. But it's this huge place. But essentially, you're working for your deal because you got to hunt. This place is.
I don't
huge.
mind that. Yeah.
And I love it, but if you go there with anything set in mind, you'll probably be disappointed. Like if you go there saying, "Oh, I hope to find games," that's probably not going to happen. I don't never have any expectations. I just go there and look. Well, yesterday I found an Apple III monitor which sells for about $100. I mean, about half of that's the shipping, but even so, I could probably get 60 out of it if I wanted to. I could probably get 60 for me and about 45 shipping, so I could probably get a little over 100. It's a pretty nice shape. Vintage, it's really nice. I also got what else I got a couple of floppy disks for just threw them in, but they were kind of cool because, you know, it's like the old 5.5-inch big ones. They're not really worth nothing, but one of them had Mario Brothers on it, so I kind of thought that was cool. One of them was in an old Apple sleeve, and I haven't seen one of them in a while, so I thought it was cool. But where I made the money is he had all these old models. And that might be something that most people might not think much about is models. And I'm not talking about models that are put together. I'm talking about the ones that are still in the boxes that haven't been put together. Basically new old stock. Yeah. And this stuff is like, when I say new old, this is actually like probably 50s and 60s old. Some of them, a lot of it was from Germany. You know, the instructions were both English and in German. But anyway, so I went through that. I grabbed a stack, about 9 of them. He got a lot more than me, but I mean, it was just by design. At that point, I already had shopped a lot that day, and I was kind of trying to minimize. I was thinking I was going to go out today. I actually didn't, today being Sunday. But anyways, nonetheless, I big deal. You know, the guy initially wanted 100. So I kind of haggled a little bit, telling him like, oh, well, if you knew how much I had to dig for, being really friendly. I reminded him that I knew his cousin, because his cousin works with me. I was like, hey, what about Cindy? Come on now, don't let her down. And, joking around. So I ended up getting him down to 60, $60
for everything.
We ended up, right, everything, the monitor, all the models, and some other little trinket that's escaping me right now. It's nothing major, just a couple little odds and ends, but the bulk of it was the models and the monitor. But after I hammered out the sale or the listings. That's another thing I'll tell you is, it's easy to buy shit and everybody likes to sell stuff, but if you don't list it, it's not going to sell itself. So you really have to set aside the time. It took me about an hour to list everything. I listed 14 items. I still have a few items to list. I haven't tested them, a couple electronics or whatever. But if you don't do it, it's not going to list itself. So, I mean, it's like, you want a job, but you don't go apply. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, people aren't going to knock on the door and say, hey, let me hire you. It doesn't work that way. You got to work for it. So get your listings up quick. And, and I got them all listed. It's all hammered out. Now I don't have to think about it. Now I just got to sit back and either it'll sell or I'll have to adjust prices at some point. But either way, it's out of my hair. We had one other stop that was pretty cool that you might not think much about, but there's these little TVs. They're like 13-inch, 14-inch televisions. They're the small sets, but they had they came they were themed. There's like a Ninja Turtle. There's a SpongeBob, which I actually have one of those with the remotes. Those remotes, if you can find the remotes that go to those TVs, and there's a Mickey Mouse, there's a Disney princess,
Batman, Spider-Man, those kind of things too.
Right. I think those are different manufacturers, the Batman and Spider-Man, but nonetheless, still it's the same idea. The concept's still the same. But the remotes go So if you could just even find the remote, if you find, and a lot of times you'll see that maybe that's not the first thing you go to when you go to your favorite hunting spot or picking spot, however you want to call it. But make sure you make that round. Go through the remotes, check it out. And because I mean, you're looking at $30. A lot of times they're not going to charge you but maybe $1 or $2. Even on the high end, I've picked up $5 remotes that I've sold for $35. I'll do that all day. But anyways, but those TVs also had matching DVD players that would fit underneath them.
Yep.
They're separate. You don't have to have the television, but I got the DVD player, and that's going to be, about a $50 sale plus another 40 something in shipping. So people are paying up for these. $80 to $100 they'll pay for them. So, and it might not work. I mean, I turned it on and powered on. I didn't have a way to test the DVD function, but it was $15, but every green tag was half off at this one particular thrift store. I'll gamble $7.50. I'm all right with that. You know what I mean? Plus, I got this vintage doorbell. I posted it up asking people what they thought it was, and nobody. I mean, one person got close. They said intercom or something, and I might have also did it on.
Yeah.
Right, and it's true. The new is it New Touch or?
No, I can't remember.
I don't know. I forget the name of it.
Yeah, me too.
They
Tone, I think.
New Tone, there you go. I don't know how come I don't know my own product here.
That's fine. That's
right, New Tone, and they did make intercoms as well, and I don't know if they're still in business, but it was definitely something that was big in like the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 80s.
I think it's
70s.
Cincinnati, Ohio, on it, didn't it? I think.
Yep. It's an American product, but this was and I saw it. I knew what it was exactly right away. I mean, it almost looks like an old box where if you would have went to a drive-in, and those old box you would attach to your window. It had that little vibe to it, but I knew what it was when I saw it. I picked it up to $250. I got it listed right now for $50 plus shipping. Somebody has an auction going right now. They've already got $30 in bids on theirs.
Yep.
So I sell first, and I'm fine with that. You know what I mean? I don't mind waiting my turn. But the high end completed sale sold for what I listed it at, so I'll wait. You know what I mean? I don't mind for a $250 investment. I don't mind waiting. But anyways, that was my little adventure yesterday. Pretty good. Had a good time. Got to hang out with a friend. We got to do some stuff. And then the best thing was we used his vehicle, so I didn't have to pay the gas. So. Extra profit.
Let's dip it in there. That's good.
Yep.
All right. Well, I didn't come up with a story, but I came up with a couple ideas or tips. Now I got to remember where I put them. Oh my God. What is going on with me? One thing was, I don't know if you've ever heard of Camel. It's a website that lets you track Amazon prices. So you can go on there and add in products from Amazon that you're looking to buy. And you can set up alerts for when it goes on sale. So that's something that can come in really handy. If there's something on Amazon, let's say a game you're looking at or a controller, you're like, I don't really want to pay up for this, but I'll wait, right? Wait for it to come down in price. Yeah. You can set up a sale notification for it to let you know when that thing comes on sale. So that's my tip in this whole wrong section. But there's also a Canadian version of it too. It's the same site, I believe. But just you go to go to Canada or something like that when you go to their site, camel.com. The second thing is, I don't know, this isn't so much it's kind of a story. So this guy posts an ad on Kijiji. I think it's still there. Let me double check because then I can get the wording right. So he's got a post an ad. The title is PS3, PS2, PS1, Xbox 360, Xbox Wii games. And the picture is just a bunch of, it's a cartoon of a bunch of controllers. And he says, tons of games with cases and without. Without case, $2 to $5. With case, $4, $10. Contact me through Kijiji messaging for game list and pricing. I'm like, okay, so he's some kind of reseller, I guess. Let's just see what he's got. Maybe he's got something good. Who knows? So I messaged the guy with, send me your price list. And that is followed up by him sending me 36 emails with each one being an individual photo.
Okay.
Each fucking email is a single photo. And it's mostly...
I would have almost been worried that there were you caught a virus at that point.
Well, this is with Kijiji, and there's an app for it, so they all show up as well in the messenger. So I could see that they are all just photos. It just showed in there as photos.
Okay.
Because it ignores the text, or maybe it didn't. I don't even know what the hell it did. But he just put here's a picture and then a picture. Maybe he even used the app to send it. I'm not sure. But it is just a pile of shitty games that nobody wants, like fucking ESPN 2K5, NHL 2K16, or 2K6, and just a bunch of crappy games nobody would be interested in. I don't know why you didn't put it all in one photo. Maybe, Kijiji lets you do, I think, 8 photos. So you just put 8 photos up there, maybe put some of the pictures together, lay the shit out better, but there's like nothing good. And it's really fucking annoying that he had to send me 36 photos of nothing good. If you're listing stuff on Kijiji or on eBay or Craigslist or Kijiji, I guess, just put a damn picture and put the things. Even if he had written a list out, I guess that's the problem. Is some people are just too lazy. But he said, "Message me for a price. I want a price list. Where's the price list?
Talk the tax. You know what I mean? If you're too lazy to type, just talk it in your phone.
That's true.
Of course, it will be full of errors, but maybe the gist will get through.
Yeah, no, it would. And I don't think he even sent me a price list in all of this. I'm still going through all the photos because this is ridiculous.
Now, was there a phone number involved in there at any point?
No phone number.
Because see, sometimes I'll when I have a difficult situation like that, I will try to circumvent it. Just try to get down to because some people aren't tech savvy, and it's hard to believe in 2018. But if there's ever a number involved, I'll just call.
And
you know what I mean?
There was no phone number posted, and myself, I've found that I get so many bad experiences that I try and avoid using the phone because it's more of a waste of time.
Oh, I understand, but I'll give you one positive experience that I always like talking about. Craigslist ad popped up locally, and it was just a stack of gems, right? I mean, it was all NES. This is about 3 years ago, all NES, but it was all $30, $30, River City Ransom, all the good stuff, right? I mean, the mid-tier stuff, nothing rare, but DuckTales, all the stuff that you would want. Easy traders, flippers. A lot of people need it for holes in their collection, whatever. Well, it posted up, and the guy, somebody had mentioned it, like, "Hey, I'm not in town, but if you guys want it, here you go." Well, everybody's messaging him. Well, I saw the number. I just called him. I got him right on the phone, and I stayed on the phone, and I kept him on the phone until I got there. I didn't know if I had mentioned it, but I kept him on the phone until I got there, and I mean, if you could call him. Sorry if I already told that.
No, that's fine.
It's such story for me,
but I don't remember. I think the context was different, but there was
but
no
it was
phone
essentially
number
No, if you can't, you can't. But
and with this guy, the thing is,
that
there was nothing in the ad to tell me he had anything good. And
right,
all the
he's
photos,
just giving you broad
shit. Yeah, I mean,
probably a lot of sports titles,
familiar with,
titles.
Like NRA Gun Club. Is that any good? No, apparently not.
Probably not, but I mean, it's weird, and there are those. Oh well, that's
there's literally, like, in this pile of stuff, there's maybe 10 games in cart cases. It's just junk. But if I hadn't ever messaged him, I wouldn't have found out. So there's one thing.
You scratched the itch.
Because I hate not knowing too, right? If I see something like that and I don't message the person, it would bother me. It would bother me for days that I never messaged the guy. There's several times where I've had that happen, where I just don't message him, and it bothers me for a while after that I never found out what that was. Could have missed something good. It's kind of like the days where you don't
for me it's kind
of or garage sales,
right?
You're like, shit. What?
To me, it's when I don't go early and I don't score at I don't let's say it's a Sunday and I don't go early to the swap meet, but I'm kind of lazy and I go in a little late and I don't score. All I could think about is what I didn't get. Yeah. And I was telling my friend, I was like, I'd much rather get up at 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. or whatever to get to the swap meet, stay there for 3 or 4 hours, not get a damn thing, than show up at 9 o'clock and the exact same experience happened because all I'll think is, man, I should have got here early. Yep.
That's all I'll think. You know what I mean? Going through garage sales, and then I see CJR going through the garage sales.
Yeah.
Damn it, I should have got here
Yeah.
earlier. I should have got here earlier.
Yeah, with this little secret camera. I
Yeah.
need to get me one of those.
Yeah, I know. I thought about it too, but I didn't bother. What? You don't need it. You're just recording it for someone else. You don't need it for yourself, right? That's the thing I thought of.
I don't know.
When I was considering it last, it's like, what am I going to use it for?
It'd be fun, document it, I guess. I don't know. You never know. Could be the. You never know. You could be the next PewDiePie.
Yeah, but I'm too lazy. I don't get around to editing the shit. No time.
Right.
Spend my
Well,
time
maybe
doing
get
other
somebody.
shit.
Well, there you go. That's it. Priorities, man.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's my lamest story. So the next section here is discussion topic, collection update. It's kind of like whatever we feel like doing with this section, but we've already talked to Chris about how he doesn't track things. It's all in his memory. That's good. Chris is first. Anything you want to throw out about your collection itself, or even a topic you want to bring up?
Well, I'll tell you, we talked about it a little bit before we started recording, so I'll just get it out. It's kind of a tip too. I probably should have said it earlier, but you know that GameCube NR reader that I was selling on eBay?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know if I had mentioned it, but I actually had it listed last year too for a while, and eBay pulled it. And they said that Nintendo did a copyright claim, but to be more specific, it wasn't necessarily exactly eBay. It's an email you never want to get, and it's from the Vero division, VERO. If you get that, you kind of know you're into some shit. So they had sent it to me. They told me that Nintendo had put a claim on it. That I was violating their copyright, and it was poorly worded. So I was thinking, do they think this is stolen because, it is a development kit or something like that? Because, I mean, those things are supposed to be disposed of. And if they want to push the issue, they can. But every not for resale cart is supposed to be disposed. And I mean, eBay's littered with it. So I didn't understand why they were focusing on me. It would kind of piss me off, but I didn't feel like dealing with it. I sent, they gave me Nintendo like a direct email to Nintendo. I messaged them. I thought I was articulate. I felt like I got my point across well. Never got a response.
Okay.
So I just let it sit in there because I wasn't really that anxious to sell it anyway. It didn't really matter to me. I already had sold a disc for double what I paid for the whole thing anyway. So
yep.
So I decided a couple months later, I looked it up again, and there's like 7 listings, and I'm just like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? So I went ahead and relisted it, and I went through and I buzzwords. I try to steer away from like development or dev. I just went with just exactly what it is in our reader. I just left it at that.
Okay.
And it expired it went through about a 2-month cycle of expiring. I kept getting offers. They were lower than I want. My number was 350.
Okay.
And I mean, I had as much as somebody offered me 300, and I just wasn't going to budge because I knew I was coming up to convention soon, and I felt like it'd be a great trade item to take with me.
Okay.
So I figured, fuck it.
Solid
well,
logic,
about 3 or 4 days before the convention came up, I got another message from eBay saying that they had pulled my ad. But this time I was a little more serious. Not only did they pull my ad, they threw a 7-day suspension on me. Suspension that I couldn't list any new. Whatever I had that was listed could stay listed, but I couldn't alter the listings in any way. Okay, so I couldn't adjust any prices. I could end the listing if I wanted to, but I couldn't do anything to the listing. I couldn't change the description. I couldn't do anything to it. Whatever was listed had to stay as is, or I had to take it off. I didn't really have a lot of stuff to list at the moment, but the second you have something taken away from you, you feel like, what the fuck? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so, of course, I'm very serious about my account. Called eBay right away. Didn't matter. They couldn't do nothing. I get supervisors. I went up the chain. Didn't matter. I had to go through this Vero division, but they won't take phone calls. You can only email them. So I emailed them. They took 3 days to get back to me. I finally started going back and forth with somebody. I pled my case. I told them how I purchased this legally. I purchased it from the owner, which isn't quite true, but I do know who bought it from the owner. So I'm just, essentially it's kind of one of those situations where I know it came from the person who used to work at Longitech. And they had it legally. They didn't steal it. Now, granted, they didn't dispose of it the way they did, but the company actually paid for it. So however you want to call it, it was their legal property to sell. They did it.
Yep.
And I'm not even sure the GameCube copyright for the games was still in effect. I mean, obviously you can't sell the game, but they can't stop you from making a game for the GameCube. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, the Tengen had won that case. If I wanted to develop a game for GameCube, I can make my own game. I don't need to go through Nintendo. What am I going to do? Fight $1 billion company for a $350 sale? No. So I didn't even. So I had, I just basically just resent the same. I just copied it and pasted it and resent the same thing to Nintendo to cover my bases. And I kept going back and forth. Well, I got the suspension reduced. Not that they wanted to, but I was very persistent. I was just like, listen, I'm not, because they're like, I'm like, there's 7 other items. Well, if you want to report them, no, that's not my job to report them. I don't care. But what I'm saying is, are you telling me there's reproductions? There's all kinds of counterfeit products that eBay is promoting. Why are you coming after a legal product? This isn't stolen. This isn't counterfeit. Nonetheless,
like, what did Nintendo he probably just got fed up. The problem. Did Nintendo say we own this, so we don't?
Right. Well, they got a letter from a Nintendo attorney, so it was serious. Because the guy told me, he goes, "Listen, if this was just some because I thought it was a bitter
other person,
a bitter buyer who I wasn't accepting his offer that was reporting it, claiming to be Nintendo. They're like, no, we got legal papers served to us. We had to remove it. We had no choice." I was like, all right. I was like, well, I'll tell you what, I'm never going to listen.
Like, fuck.
Why mine? And the other ones are still up. That's the frustrating part. Now, my buddy Jay had an interesting take on it because a couple of them are listed in Germany and maybe Nintendo has no restriction. Like, they have no jurisdiction there. Like, maybe the laws there prevent them from going after those. That could be a thing. There might be stronger copyright laws in the United States. Maybe that's part of the deal. Either way, I'm not fucking with Nintendo. You know what I mean? They say no. I'm fine with that. I should have took the first warning more seriously.
But I
should have.
I don't think you were undue because you tried contacting Nintendo and nothing happened. They never even got back to you. But please don't sell it. Like,
correct, but it's also kind of like that law. Ignorance isn't an excuse type of thing. I mean, there are very strict, like if I have another restriction happen to me, I will have to go through a program where I'll have to prove that I understand what the program is. You know what I mean? So like, I'm not going to mess with them. There's other items that you have to watch out for. Like, what's that? The one about where you're learning other languages, the Rosetta Stone.
Yeah.
You cannot sell them. P90X is another one they'll go after. There's a couple other ones.
Yeah,
my buddy Jay knows a lot. And
I've heard a lot of T-shirt brands. Is it Monster Energy? Monster Energy doesn't let you sell hats and stuff. That'll be pulled down.
It might be, but I just know that there's a few that I just avoid. I mean, a good way to know whether or not you're in the safe zone is, look it up. And if you see 100 listings, you probably know you're good. You know what I mean? If you see 1 or 2 listings and you think you're on the fence about it, you might want to do a little more research or take the time to contact eBay just to find out.
Pretty sure.
Anyways, I ended up trading it at I was actually happy though, because I ended up trading it for 3, I would say, rare-ish Super Nintendo games and some cash at the convention. So I ended up getting more than my $350 in value anyway. So it kind of worked out.
Okay. Yeah.
But there's my story.
Brands people are curious. Dr. Dre, Ray-Bans. Yeah. Ray-Ban as well.
Yeah, Beats are tough. Well, the problem with Beats and Ray-Bans is there's so many counterfeits out there.
Yeah, I think that's
they started attacking everything.
I think
another thing, like I was told recently that Amazon to sell DVDs, you have to be able to prove that you bought $5,000 worth of merchandise from a distributor before you can sell DVDs on Amazon.
Jesus.
So if you look at the used Amazon prices, they're actually a lot higher than you would think. And it was like, I didn't even know that. But my buddy, he's all about the Amazon, and he's just like, yeah, you can't even sell DVDs on Amazon. unless you want to go through this. You have to have some sort of bond and all that. It's like crazy shit. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, because they got sued by a few movie companies for selling pirated DVDs, and so they're out.
No. Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, Amazon's like, nah, we're not dealing with it.
Especially if the seller seals it, makes it look good. They're not going to open that shit and make sure it's legit. Yeah. Wow. I hadn't thought of that, but man. All right. Yeah, I keep hearing about all the problems with selling on Amazon. I keep hearing about them all the time from people who sell. Not good.
Yeah, there's you know how you'll have your big sales in December, but then there's what they call what do they call returnary or something, or they have a name for it, like all the returns that come back in January.
Gotcha.
So
that's funny.
Black Friday isn't necessarily your best friend. There's a lot of impulse buys that go on to December that you get back in January, and being part of the Prime is you got to accept everything back. There's no exceptions. So
that sucks. I don't wish that. I actually have my eBay account set to not accept returns. However, I know that won't actually apply apparently if the person buys or does a return through eBay through PayPal. They can apparently still get around that, but
yeah, PayPal, most people aren't savvy enough to go through PayPal, but if they send it back to you and you don't want to accept it, your best bet is to actually reject the package.
Yeah.
Don't take possession of it. Don't take possession of it. You just tell the post office to send it right the fuck back where it came from. That's your best big. I made that mistake. A guy sent me a package back, and I just accepted. I didn't realize what it was, to be honest. When I got home, I was like, oh shit, that's that one thing. And we were still in the middle of talking about the return. And he went right to PayPal, and PayPal told me, it's like, listen, you can't have both. You can't have the item and the money.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, that makes sense. You know what I mean? I can't argue with that. That's perfect logic. I was like, I can send it back to him. Like, nope, too late.
Yeah.
Like, all right.
You almost have to have people's names on hand to know when it comes back, whether there's somebody you sold something to.
Or know what you're expecting.
Yeah, but
you know,
when I go to the post office with a package that came in the mail, they'll hand me, or I'll hand them the slip that came on my door or in my mailbox. If I missed the package and it's too big to fit or requires signature, for example, hand them the slip, and they'll usually say, "Okay, sign here," and then they go to the back room and get the package while I'm signing.
Yep, you don't even know what it is.
I've already signed for it, which sucks.
Yep. Yeah. That's true. That's true. They got you.
I have my spreadsheet, and I have a separate tab of my spreadsheet that contains the names of the people that have bought from me. So that might be a good reference when I have packages coming that I don't know where they came from.
Wow, that's you know what? I'm nowhere near a super high seller, but I've sold so many items now I couldn't imagine writing all that shit down.
Yeah, well, I do it as it goes.
Too late.
So it's
I'm too far in. No, I'm too far. Right, I'm too far in at this point. There's no way out. Yeah, I'm done. I couldn't even get all that information back if I wanted to.
Yeah, especially with eBay, because eBay purges it after 90 days. It's gone.
They do. Well, they'll throw it in that secondary thing where but you can't see what the item was. This person bought something from you.
Yeah.
But eventually it goes away completely.
Yeah, I don't think so.
There's probably a product number, and you probably could do a Google search and still find it, but at some point it does go away, and that's that.
Yeah, I was thinking
you probably could still find the item.
This place then.
And there's that too, but at some point, how much time? I mean, for me, the time invested would not be worth it. I mean, I'm looking at 800-900 sales, and I'm not even saying that's a lot, but I mean that's still way more than I'm willing to invest.
I'm at 50. There's 67 sales I've had now total. So.
Oh well, dude, you're fucking moving on up, dude.
It's decent. It was 55 or 56 like a month ago, right?
Well, you start to get those plateaus, right? Like, I mean, you know, eventually you want your first 20 sales or 400 or whatever, so they start releasing the money to you, and then you want to get to like 50 or 100. You know, the 100 becomes the mark. Then, like, I'm looking at 1,000 feedback. You know what I mean? Like, I got more than 1,000 sales, I'm sure, but I'm looking for that 1,000 feedback now. It's so frustrating when you know you do a really good job. You sent the package, they got it. You know they're happy with it, because if they weren't, they would contact you.
Yeah.
But then you don't get no feedback. But
I
will tell you, unless you're early. No.
I start putting a little piece of paper. I start.
Please do it. I mean, well, I email people directly and I personalize it because the way my phone works, I mean, it memorizes basically what I'm going to say. So like once I type in thank, it'll finish, it starts going, thank you for your purchase.
I was just noticing that. I was just noticing that on my phone the other day. I was replying back to someone on Kijiji and I said, yes, the item is still available. When do you want to pick it up? I just clicked the answer, the words right away.
Yeah, you just keep clicking them. So, it's good to try to personalize those things. I would say, unless you're early on in the feedback, though, don't ever solicit feedback via message. I mean, like in the paper in the box is fine, but if they don't, because I don't know if I told the story last time, but it's a quick one. Early on, I would do that because I was hungry for feedback. So, like, I would, when I saw they got it, I knew a few days it went by, I would message them, hey, thanks again. I really appreciate your purchase. If you have any time, could you please, leave me 5-star feedback? It really helps. And I just left it at that. And then again, I thanked them again for the purchase, wrapped it up. And I would do that, a couple times a week, right? Try to catch up on sales if I see people who didn't do it. I definitely would do it about 3 or 4 times a month. And I did that probably for about a year. And then one day I saw a particularly old one that was about 30 days or so. And I had messaged her, same wrap. And she replied with an email that I did not want to receive. It was, well, actually what you sent me broke and it was broken when we got it. And so as I'm reading this, all I can think is, fuck, I just opened up this can of worms. I mean, it was like a $180 sale. You know what I mean? I only paid $1 for it. So like, it was major profit. And she goes, but you're lucky. My son wanted it anyways. So it was funny because as I was telling the story to my buddy, he goes, that's when you just like walk away from the keyboard. And I was like, yeah.
Delete that message. Never got it.
I replied to her. Right. No, but I replied to her and I just told her, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry about that. I didn't offer any refunds or anything like that, but I definitely expressed remorse and just told her, if I can do anything to help you, please let me know. And thankfully, I never heard from her again, whether it was feedback or whatever. I never heard anything from her again. And it wasn't my fault. The post office stuck something on it. Had it not been that much, I would have pursued the insurance. And if I would have put insurance on it, I definitely would have went the insurance route with her.
Yeah.
So she could have got her money, could have kept the product. It wouldn't have cost me anything else, but she would have been happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But she would have only been insured of like $50. I mean, we're talking like and I'm not paying the difference. You know what I mean? I would have, if she pressed the issue, I wouldn't have had no choice, I guess. I don't know. I think I could have fought that one though, but either way, sometimes it's best just to let sleeping dogs lie. They don't get back to you. No news is good news,
Yeah. Well, what I put in the package is just a little piece of paper that says, thank you for your purchase. Remember to leave feedback. Once you've verified that your item works as expected, please contact me if you have any problems. Thank you, Derek.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
No, I mean, I don't see nothing wrong with it, but I'm just a cheap bastard and I don't want to pay for the extra ink.
Printed at work.
I hate it when my ink runs out, man. It always is the worst time when I'm in the middle of packaging shit. It's just like
I print off like 10 of them on one page and then slice them with the paper cutter and then put them over where I put all my receipts for stuff when I ship it out.
There you go. Well, you're a lot more organized than me, Derek.
I'm not that organized. You should see this room. It's terrible.
Yeah.
But with that, I try to be. I have some of those slips at my desk at work in case I forget to bring one when I bring a package to ship. Yeah. And I may have printed some at work, which helps on the ink front.
Well, yeah, exactly. Back when I used to have access to a printer, I used to do some damage. So in my job now, there's no access to printer. I could probably get the secretary to print me some stuff off, but
yeah, she might wonder when it says thank you for your eBay purchase.
No, she's pretty cool. It was one of those networking things too. When she always gets super happy when I tell her how I sell stuff. And then one day, because I had told her it was mostly the games that I was telling her about. And one day she's like, I got you something. I'm like, what? And she gave me like a binder with Atari games in it. There was like, one of those old ones that kind of look like a book when you stick it on the shelf, but you open it up and it'll hold like 8. And it was actually kind of some good games. I mean, nothing really rare, but it was like Mario Brothers and very clean copies. And I was just like, I was just very happy. And then another time she gave me a stack of Game Boy Advance games and 2 of them happened to be Pokemon. And I'm just like, thank you, Amber. You know what I mean? Like anytime, if you got more, let me know.
Yeah, that's awesome. I wish people at my work would bring me stuff, but I haven't really told many people that I'm selling stuff, so it makes sense.
You get it out, man. You know what? But you at least tell them you collect, right?
Yeah,
you do that.
I do sometimes if it's people I already know, but I don't just brag it to everybody. Although I probably should say something to everybody. I thought about putting a poster.
You know what?
If you have old video games, so I'll take them or I'll buy them or whatever. But
if you got a bulletin board, do it. I would.
Yeah.
I haven't at my work, but everybody knows though. Pretty much anybody who I would think would have it, I've already hit up.
My company's pretty big. It's pretty ridiculous.
That's great.
Like there's 5 floors in my building and 4 floors in the building next to it. But
yeah. Well, you're missing a gold mine, dude.
Possibly.
You got to figure. Let's say, all right. What do you got to figure? What 10%? 8. Let's say 10% of them have old games in their garage.
Yeah.
Let's say it's 3%. You know what I mean? I mean, who knows? You know, you don't know. Like,
yeah.
Oh, it only takes one to have a stadium event. You know what I mean? You don't know, man.
We'll just stick with something cheaper, but yeah. Yeah.
Right. Well, hey, they won't know.
Yeah.
They'll be like, here, just take these old games.
What was I going to say? Oh, yeah. So the next part, or sorry, it's my turn next for the collection update thing. Generally, I just throw it where I'm at on my collection. So right now I'm $731 in the hole on my collection. So that's basically what I've paid out of pocket for everything in my collection, worth over 10 grand. Mainly due to the Switch and that big purchase of original Xbox consoles that I'm planning on flipping, modding and flipping, fixing stuff. And a couple other purchases. Actually, I never even talked about that Game Boy Micro pickup. That's another thing I got to flip now. So I picked up a Nintendo Game Boy Micro and a bunch of games with it for $50 Canadian off Kijiji just the other day. And the total value, if you ignore the Game Boy Micro, which sells for around $100 or so, the games themselves are worth around 85 US. So hopefully that turns into some.
Yeah, you did
profit.
good. That was a nice lot.
Yeah, I always wonder about.
You get a Pokemon,
yeah,
label or not, still that's a good one, man.
I always worry about selling stuff like that on eBay, like whether I should bother or the fee's just not worth it. And I should sell it in person. Just because. Actually, have you ever sold GBA games at a swap? Because I always find them hard to show off or display.
You mean on eBay?
No, sorry, at a game swap. Or
at a swap? Yeah, I've sold Game Boy games and Game Boy Advance games. I mean, I like the bigger ones. I would say in that kind of environment, I mean, you hate to say it because you like to think everybody's trustworthy, but you know, you kind of want to keep those a little closer to you, especially if they're, you know what I mean? Because those go right into people's pockets type of thing.
It's true.
And it, you know, you hate that, but there's, I mean, I've seen some shady shit. So, you know what I mean? So definitely that might be something if you had a little glass case or something. I mean, now you're carrying extra stuff, but if you had it, I mean, especially if there were $20, $30 titles, and if you're going to them a lot, it'd be a good investment. You can even make something probably pretty cheap.
That's what I would probably
plexiglass and wood.
Is probably a piece of wood, some sides, a door.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I haven't got anything right now, but it might be a good idea.
You go into that is it the Barry Game Exchange? Is that going to be coming up soon? Couple months or month? This month, isn't it?
May 6th. Sunday, May 6th.
Okay, May 6th. So there's that.
Yeah, come on down.
Well, we know that if Kevin's there, you know, you got to watch him.
Yeah, him in the games. You never know. He might just.
I could see Kevin stealing some. He never paid off his bet. I don't know if you were too familiar with the Retro Fandango bet. He was supposed to cosplay and.
Oh yeah.
He played.
I recorded footage of his paying off the bet in his costume.
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah, that was pretty
he
cheap.
ordered a t-shirt.
He was supposed to be the Hulkster, and he ended up being wasn't it the guy from RoboCop or something? I'll buy that for $1 guy.
Hulkster was one of the potential ones that that Ramvox eliminated.
Oh, okay.
But it was definitely the I'll buy that for $1 guy. Something Bigsby.
Yeah, well, I mean that guy. Yeah, it's what was it? A pair of glasses? I mean, he wears glasses. Come on.
I think that was the reason why he tried to do it as easy as possible.
Right? What's that guy's costume?
He had it's a tacky suit, isn't it? I thought. Pretty sure he basically wears a tacky suit.
Yeah, but I mean, how can you even tell on that shitty, like, I don't know.
It's a really,
it's not very
really bad
memorable.
footage.
His catchphrase is what's memorable. Unless he was walking around yelling, "I'll buy that for $1 and a couple of bim." Is he really paying off the bet?
A bow tie would have helped because he wears a bow tie, and maybe a girl on each
Okay,
arm.
well, now see that would have. Yeah, and I mean that almost is a benefit for him. I don't know if his wife would feel that way, but
probably not. No. Yeah, it is a tacky suit.
Probably wouldn't. Yeah,
kind of like a plaid suit, white shirt underneath, and a bow tie. That's what we got. But I
would have made him go as RoboCop. I would have made him
That's
go
too
as
cool.
RoboCop.
He wanted to be something embarrassing.
No, I'm talking about like a janky, like a cardboard. Like have you seen like the AVGN one from a couple of episodes back when he did the RoboCop reviews? And like, I would have made him do that. I don't know if you're. Yeah, well, it's a throwback one. It's worth the watch. He doesn't need me pumping up his views. He's doing okay. But
oh, I can see. Yeah. I've seen the photo. I've seen the picture before. I see it now. All right, let's move on. This is normally where we do some listener questions. I don't think we have any because I forgot to tweet it out ahead of time. We got nothing. No questions to answer. So let's just skip on past that. Laura, you got something? What?
Well, on the collection thing, I have been pushing for I am going for a complete Nintendo 64 set because I don't know. I guess I like racing and sports titles. And, that's what I'm going for. But I'm at 208 at the moment. I have a couple of pending things I got to get back to. Josh, as you had mentioned, I know you have a cart that you talked about.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm not interested. The weekend's been busy. I just haven't got back to it. And but definitely, I should probably be creeping up on 220 soon.
Cool.
Complete set is 296, and I got all the major titles out of the way other than Worms. But there's not too many super big ones anyway, but I got the tough one, the Sculptor's Cut. So
there's also something we were talking about your pickups. What was it we were talking about? I thought there was a bunch of questions people were asking about your stuff that I thought could have been useful.
Oh, actually just answer them directly?
Yeah, I don't remember what it was though. Yeah, I didn't realize that banana guitar chord computer was a tuner that you had there.
Yes. Yeah, that I'm still fiddling with it. It might actually not be working, but if it is, it's a $30 to $35 item. I'm in 50 cents.
Yep.
So, and something I didn't actually talk about when I was at that junky thrift warehouse, and this is a very bad faux pas on my part. My phone died. So everything was a blind buy. I didn't actually know prices on anything when I bought it. But at some point you do it long enough, you actually I didn't actually look up anything the whole day other than that doorbell, which I was going to buy anyway. I was just curious what it was worth, but that was the only thing out of the whole day that I actually took the time to, make sure what the price was. Everything else I just knew. I mean, I knew that DVD was going to be $40-$50 and plus shipping. And, there's just certain items that I knew were going to be what they were. The models was all just a guess. I figured if I could get it all at a nice bulk rate, I was okay. So, I mean, sometimes instincts go a long way. Sometimes, obviously, repeat buys or comparable buys, like the mini tape decks that I buy, the little micro cassette recorders.
I never find them.
One that I got, it might not work either. It had the battery explode in it, and I put some batteries in it. Wasn't working yet, but I'm in it for 50 cents. So two of my buys might actually be a bust, but I'll be a whole 75 cents. It's just the $60 I could have made. You know what I mean?
Batteries blow up in something. Usually I find if you just take a little nail file to the terminals, clean off all that white shit, they usually work fine.
No, you're right, but I think it was a little more invasive and actually might have gotten to inside of it, into the motherboard or whatever, the circuit board, whatever it is on the inside, because I did do the file thing. But you know what? Either way, I could still salvage it because it came with a little cassette. I can use that as a future sale. Those little cassettes are worth something, especially if you bundle them up and sell them in a lot. And I will take that broken one and I will add it to two other broken ones that I got. And eventually I'm going to make a broken lot for parts of repair, and I'll be able to sell that for $20 or $30. So sometimes even buying broken stuff is a good thing. Buy broken iPhones, buy broken iPods. You know, that's money in the bank. You think, I mean, as long as your investment's low, you're going to make money.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say.
So there's
would be good for someone who repairs them.
Right. If you repair them, you're really going to make money. But even on the end where you're not making the money, as far as the bigger, like you're not going to make the $70, $80, but you'll make $20 to $30. And if you're buying it for $1 or $5, I mean, those $25 profit margins start to add up quick. Sell 4 items, you got $100. Now you're buying that rare game you can't afford.
Yeah, for sure. Where were we? We were on the suggested content was coming up next. We got no questions. I still didn't find what I was thinking about with questions from people, but it was something to do with your I think it was just that doorbell thing. All right, so suggested content.
I started getting a lot of feedback on that.
Yeah, it was neat. Looks awesome too. So this is where we suggest some kind of YouTube video channel, podcast, game, or something else for people to check out. Chris, you're up first.
Okay, I will tell you, this isn't necessarily anything selling related or anything like that, but I know it doesn't necessarily have to be. My I don't want to say former, because I don't know, we might still record at some point, but my former co-host, Rip, he must be on a speed run kick, because he keeps forwarding me speed runs, and you wouldn't think they're that entertaining, but this guy does a pretty good job, and he's a speed runner himself. The name of the page, or the YouTube channel, is Summoning Salt. So SUMMONING Salt. Space. There's a space in between. But I mean, the guy's got some views. I mean, just on this one Super Mario 64 world progression record, he's got 1 million views. So the guy puts in some time in it. And what he'll do is, like, let's say that one in particular, that Mario 64, he'll kind of give an update. A background to it, like, up until this point, blah blah blah. Nobody knew what this was, but then this guy set the record, and then now these guys went back and forth, and they, a lot of this stuff is captured on Twitch, so a lot of the videos available to him, and being that he's in that community, I guess a lot of them are okay with him using their footage, or maybe it's public domain, I'm not sure, but he does a very good job of the chronological order of the way these world records are. There also is some that are kind of topical, because he does go over the progression of the Donkey Kong arcade score, being that Billy Mitchell, some of his scores are being questioned, I guess is a nice way to put it. He's being exposed, I guess, a little bit. But I like it, and it definitely is worth it. I mean, the videos are tight, they're short, about 15 minutes. I think the longest one might have been 19-20 minutes I remember watching, but I think I've gone through his whole channel in a couple days, and a couple of them I repeated a few times already, so I like it. So check it out.
Cool. All right. And then for me is Michael Pierce. I just discovered him recently. I was watching Craigslist Hunter on YouTube, and he mentioned this guy, Michael Pierce, who had been away and is a reseller, mostly of video games, but just in general, and gives lots of tips. This guy, Michael Pierce, gives lots of tips on how to sell, what to sell, how to start up an eBay store, how to start up Amazon store, how to package things, all that kind of stuff. And it's youtube.com/Michael Joseph Pierce, Pierce. And I just recently checked out found him, and I need to go check out more of his videos, because, like I said, he has a whole series of videos in a playlist on how to start an eBay store. And I gotta check that out, see if there's any good tips in there. And again, he's focused on video games, so that's even more, targeted towards us. Pretty cool.
There it is.
Yeah,
check it out.
So that's basically summing it up. We're basically done. To plug Chris is at CWR on Twitter, or at CWR2 on Twitter, and at CWR2 on Instagram. Like you said, you're on another podcast, the Narc podcast. Everybody check that out.
Wow, the possibly defunct podcast.
Possibly. That's okay. But there's lots of good episodes there.
If you ever want to go back, you can go back and listen to some of it.
Yeah. And I'm Derek of Two Dorks, TWO Dorks on YouTube. Check out the Cartridge Club, cartridgeclub.org, community of gamers, content creators, collectors, and friends. That's just a good bunch of people. And for the podcast itself, our podcast here, we'll normally have another guest on. It'll be the two of us with a guest going forward, just in case anyone was curious. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being on, Chris. You've been awesome.
Well, thank you for having me. And give a shout out to P1. He knows why.
Cha-ching.
Because sometimes, I feel like you're talking too fast. And other people are like, oh, I liked it. And I'm just like, I don't know. You're always your harshest critic.
Exactly. That's exactly what I think too.